Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Islam is the truest religion. Islam is the truest religion because Islam has proof of its truth, while religions other than Islam do not. Evidence of the truth of Islam is found in its holy book, namely the Qur'an, and also the words and actions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. To prove the truth of Islam, we need to use imagery or analogies, such as when someone wants to prove the authenticity of the document or securities, for example a KTP, diploma, land certificate, or something else. We just need to look at the presence of fingerprints, the signature of the owner of the document, or also stamp. In the police, fingerprints are also widely used to prove perpetrators of criminal acts, especially those where there are no witnesses. Likewise, to prove the truth of the Quran, you can find the fingerprints or stamp of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the sense of proof of its truth that it really comes from God, the creator of this universe. As an example, in the Quran Surah Al-An'am 6 verse 125, it is said that
يشرح صدره للإسلام ومن يرد أن يضله يجعل صدره ضيقا حرجا كأنما يصعد في السماء كذلك يجعل الله الرجس على الذين لا يؤمنون.
Whoever Allah wills will give him guidance. He will certainly expand his chest to accept the religion of Islam. And whoever Allah wills to mislead, Allah will surely make his chest tight and narrow, as if he were climbing to the sky. That is how Allah inflicts punishment on those who do not believe. It should be remembered that humans only felt shortness of breath when they climbed into space 13 centuries later, after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspired humans to make airplanes, and even then after airplanes could rise above an edge of 3,000 meters. Example 2. In the verse of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states that humans will be able to climb into space by using a sultan technology, as stated in the Quran Surah Ar-Rahman 55 verse 33, which reads,
يا معشر الجن والإنس إن استطعتم أن تنفذوا من أقطار السماوات والأرض فانفذوا لا تنفذون إلا بسلطان.
Oh, all jinn and humans, if you are able to penetrate across the corners of heaven and earth, penetrate, you will not be able to penetrate except with technology, Sultan. The ability of humans to climb into space only occurred 14 centuries after the revelation of this verse. If 10 centuries ago someone had said that one day there would be hundreds of people who could fly in space, walk on the moon, people would not have believed it, even though the Quran has said it. It is even more surprising that the Quran once supposed human opinion in its time, as stated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah An-Naml 27 verse 88.
تحسبها جامدة وهي تمر مر السحاب صنع الله الذي أتقن كل شيء إنه خبير بما تفعلون.
And you see the mountains. You think they stay where they are, but they move as the clouds do. Such is the action of Allah who firmly makes everything. Verily Allah is all-knowing of what you do. The verse explains that the mountains move. Mountains are mounds of land that can reach thousands of meters in age and are firmly planted on the earth. If the mountains are moving, then it can be concluded that the earth is also moving. It is impossible for mountains to work without including the earth. At this time, it is known that the earth has two movements. It rotates on its axis and around the sun. At the time this verse was revealed and even 1,000 years after, humans still believe that the earth and everything in it was the center of the universe. It did not move and it was the universe that moved around the earth. This opinion was called the geocentric theory. In the 15th century, a scientist named Nicolaus Copernicus was born in Poland. He was the first person to oppose the geocentric theory and created the heliocentric theory. The essence of the heliocentric theory is to state that it is the Earth and all the planets that revolve around the Sun, and not the Earth which is surrounded by the Sun. His theory was opposed by the Church and society in general. Then a century later, a scientist was born in Italy named Galileo Galilei. With his telescope, he created Copernicus' theory. However, Galileo did not receive prize equivalent to the Nobel Prize, but instead was imprisoned for life by the church because he did not want to retract his statement. However, it is a shame that these two scientists have never read Qur'an. If they had read it, they would have confirmed it, as was done by two French scientists. One of them was the famous oceanographer Commander Jacques Cousteau. He acknowledged the truth of the Quran after reading Surah Al-Furqan 25 verse 53, which reads,
وهو الذي مرج البحرين هذا عذب فرات وهذا ملح أجاج وجعل بينهما برزخا وحجرا محجورا.
And it is He who allows two seas to flow side by side. This one is fresh, and the other is very salty and bitter. And He has made between them an impenetrable wall and boundary. Likewise, Professor Maurice Bacquille, a French surgeon who also believes in the truth of the Quran after researching Pharaoh's mother. He was amazed when he read Quran Surah Yunus 10 verse 92.
فَالْيَوْمَ نُنَجِّيكَ بِبَدَنِكَ لِتَكُونَ لِمَنْ خَلْفَكَ آيَةً وَإِنَّ كَثِيرًا مِنَ النَّاسِ عَنْ آيَاتِنَا لَغَافِلُونَ.
So today we save your body so that you can be lesson for those who come after you. He was amazed that the Quran could tell us the whereabouts of Pharaoh's mother, who had died thousands of years ago and whose body could still be seen today, even though no one knew about her whereabouts except after her grave was opened 5,000 years later. In the Quran, there are many verses in the fields of astronomy, geology, physics, marine affairs, medicine, and others, which are confirmed by science technology. The miracles in the Quran prove to us that the author of the Quran is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator of the universe and who knows everything that will happen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provides evidence of the truth of the Quran through science and technology that can be accepted by human common sense. Today, many scientists have converted to Islam because they believe that the Quran could not have been written by any human being. These verses are like God's fingerprints or stamps which are embedded in the Quran to prove its truth. Even though the Quran was revealed to an illiterate person, and the Quran cannot be changed even one verse since it was revealed and not as spoken. Shia Rafidhah, liars who say that the Quran has been changed or falsified by the companions of Rasulullah SAW. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised to protect the Quran as His word in Surah Al-Hijr 15 verse 9.
إِنَّا نَحْنُ نَزَّلْنَا الذِّكْرَ وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ.
Indeed, it is we who send down the Quran, and indeed we truly preserve it. Islam is the religion of humanity's present and future.
في القلب مشاعر أخفيها قد أشرقت الشمس عليها.